good lordy, Mr. 40 came out of the weeds yesterday. Yeah, we haven't seen him in like about 5 weeks. So we got this passport vaccination pass. I don't know what the heck but anyway, I've just made it company policy that here in the office it's mask mandated. All right. So don't forget. Hey, season 2, episode 35. Isn't this nice to have a little bit of a cool breeze? Beautiful summer day, September the 2nd already. School coming back in. Wow, a lot going on. And this is, of course, Niagara 411 Live, fueled by Gale's Gas Bars. It is powered by WeeStreem. It is supported by our always generous and consistently supportive sponsors, Performance Heating and Air, and Enwick, Niagara's high-speed internet service. Also, Verge Insurance Group, and we are headed right now to, as always, our host set for Niagara 411 Live, which is Fiddler's Poorhouse. I'm Lee Sterry, and we are going to get this thing underway. We're going to talk more about the passports, some more things about the Fort Erie murders that happened back in January, and a bunch of stuff this week. So come on in, get yourself settled down, and we'll give you an update on what's been happening over the past week since we last got together. Welcome to September and episode 35 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. We are right back. Well, here we are, September the 2th, 2021. Isn't that something already?
I got a duck here, Lee. I don't think I set my camera up. Look.
You didn't set your camera up?
No, look here.
Kevin, I'm telling you,
Oh, that's good.
Here's a guy I keep saying, there you are. Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen, a true professional. We kid each other a lot. But now that I'm saying that, WeeStream has been busy. And talk about professionals. How many city councils do you do now?
3 or 4. We're about to bring on board the city of St. Catharines and also West Lincoln.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do 3 or 4 now, and you're going to do St. Catharines plus West Lincoln.
Yeah, we're getting pretty busy. Then you bottle up some of the other events that are coming up. We've got the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, their Business of the Year Awards.
Yeah.
We've got some corporate things happening out at Whiteouts. It's
a
very busy time.
You know what it's like when you go into your own phone and you do this thing and you hit your camera and you do video and you're kind of doing this and you're making a home thing. And trust me, this is not what we do. This is not what WeeStream does. It is the highest, low-cost, high-tech broadcast experience that you can find. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, you're bang on, Lee. We could do cool things like this. Whatever the news is of the day,
yeah,
we can just throw it up on the screen.
And I just found to tell you the truth, I'm going to go back a little bit. We're going to talk about what's on the screen there in a second, the proof of vaccination thing. But I'm going to go back a little bit. Kevin and I met each other at a talk radio station here in St. Catharines. Kevin, executive producer, also a talk show host, etc., of his own program. We worked together on a bunch of different things, and then, of course, with how media goes, he went over there, I went over there, and we all and he picked up the phone. How long is it now, Kevin? A year and a half ago?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably kind of few months into COVID.
Yeah, and other than our radio experience together, we really didn't have a lot in common. But he picked up the phone and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. What do you think about hosting a show or two?" It's okay. why not? I really have no life. I'm retired. It's okay.
That's why I called.
Yeah. So, and here we are today. Long story short, season 2, episode 35. I have no idea how many we did in season 1, but with the support of our sponsors, our title sponsor, Gales Gas Bars, and our supporting sponsors, Performance Heating and Air, Enwick High Speed Internet, Verge Insurance Group. I think it was a cigarette commercial years ago that said, "You come a long way, baby," and I think this show has come quite a long way. And kudos to Kevin Jack, his partner Brandon, and WeeStream for basically inspiring this concept of what we do.
Yeah, we already knew what could be done technically. We knew that we could set up a live interactive TV show.
But you didn't know. The people didn't.
Yeah, the people didn't know. A lot of people don't know what technology can do, but we're in this business. So, you combine the broadcast experience that you and I both have, and then the technical experience that I brought to the table with WeeStream, and I knew I could put together something that was professional and was unlike anything that's ever been done in Niagara, unlike anything that's been done in Canada, to be honest. We don't know of another show that is like this, that is live and open and available to anybody.
No, we're it.
Yeah, this is it.
And you are, now that Kevin said that, we'll just remind you that you are welcome to come on this program at any time. Think of this, you're used to open line radio call where you got a guy sitting in a radio studio and he's accepting your telephone calls. You call in on a particular subject, any subject at all, and you have a conversation. Well, this is that, only with video added. This is that. And you're more than welcome to join us. You don't need an invitation. We don't need to schedule an interview. We do schedule some interviews, and we'll tell you about that in a bit. But you don't have to do that. We are open forum, and all you have to do, as it says on your post as you're viewing this right now, is click on the Zoom link in this post, and we'll get you going. All right? So, sorry for wavering there, Kevin. I just thought it was maybe a good idea that we reminded folks about our genesis, how this began.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't know, so it's good to go over every once in a while, at least. So I appreciate that, and appreciate the little pump up to WeeStream. If anybody's looking to bring
these
their
guys, man, they do anything that you would think of, any event that you would want to have people attend in person. WeeStream will make that happen, even if they're not in person.
And you know what, Lee?
It's that simple.
Doing it online means no vaccination passports required.
Good segue, Kevin. And here we are. Proof of vaccination will be required in higher risk indoor public settings. Our pal, good lordy, it's 40, came out yesterday and said, I don't really like this idea, but we're going to do it. By September, what is it, Kev? 22nd?
September 22nd, they will be required.
22nd of this month. Restaurants and bars, nightclubs and casinos, meeting and event spaces, gyms, fitness and recreational facilities, sporting events, concerts, music festivals, etc., cinemas, and what is that at the bottom? RXing venues. What's that?
Racing venues.
Oh, racing.
Yeah, sorry, text is rather small.
Yeah, well, I'm getting old. My eyes are dying. So anyway, racing venues. You will have to have proof of vaccination. Now, what that proof of vaccination, what the form will actually take, I think we kind of have an idea, but what are you going to, do you have to have a piece of paper with you? Is it going to be, show me your papers? Or is it going to be all on your phone? There's the actual post from news.ontario. Ontarians will need fully vaccinated 2 doses plus 14 days. Jeez. And provide their proof of vaccination along with photo ID to access certain public settings and facilities. All right, restaurants, bars, da-da-da-da.
Well, here you get into some of the specifics. For example, restaurants, indoor, you must...
But not outdoor.
Not outdoor.
Huh?
You trying to make sense of it, Lee?
I feel like Scooby-Doo. What is that all about?
But nightclubs, including outdoor areas.
Oh, and the most important thing I heard on the radio today is strip clubs.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure.
Well, of course.
People that down are all over this.
Yeah, well, yeah, God, I'm glad I got mine. Yeah, casinos, bingo halls, gaming establishments, concerts, music festivals, theaters, and cinemas. There it is, strip clubs right there. Bathhouses and sex clubs. Oh, God love you.
Can you explain to me a bathhouse, Lee?
Huh?
Can you explain to me a bathhouse?
A bathhouse, as I understand it, not that I have any personal experience, as I understand it, it used to be like a steam room where, guys that smoked cigars and drank brandy and stuff would go in and wrap towels around themselves and sit in a steam room. And you never know what's going to happen in a steam room. I think that's kind of like a bathhouse.
Okay.
I think if you watch Reservoir Dogs or something, there might be a bathhouse scene, just to give you an idea. I don't know. I'm feeling silly, what can I say?
So people are wondering, okay, how do I prove that I'm vaccinated?
Good. That's a good question. How do I prove that I'm vaccinated? Well, here's how you do this. Not yet, because it hasn't been rolled out yet. Download your COVID-19 vaccine receipt. Now, I have the hard copy that I got when I was over at the 4PAD, and I got my vaccines. I've got the one from the first shot, I got the one from the second shot, and all the rest. So if I need to put it in my wallet to carry it around, I have that. Probably not everybody kept theirs. I don't know. I kept mine, and I put it, you know what I did? I put it with my actual real passport. So if I have to get on a plane or something like that, it's with my passport. So that's what I did.
Now, Lee, know what my wife did, and I'm going to do this as a warning to others. She took our receipts.
Is this going to get you in trouble with your wife?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Because, like I showed you right here, I mean, you can always download it, right?
Yes.
So you can go and download it. So it's all in the system, and as of October 22nd, they're going to have an app. So you won't have to carry around these pieces of paper.
Everybody has an app. You got to have an app.
You just have an app to prove you're vaccinated.
You got an app? I got an app.
My wife took those receipts, right, that we got as we got our shot, our first shot, and our second shot, and said, okay, I'm going to put them back to back and laminate them. So that we could, right, so we could put them so you should laminator at work. Well, I guess those receipts, you know that paper, it's real thin?
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're heat activated.
Oh, no.
So when my wife ran it through the laminator, both sheets of paper went completely black. So a recommendation to you, if you do want to laminate them, is photocopy them first.
Yeah.
So that they're on a regular piece of paper, and then vaccinate, and then laminate those.
So did you two have a discussion about this?
We just laughed about it when she came home, and this was some time ago. This was 2-3 weeks ago, because we kind of saw that this was coming, right? Like, okay, we're going to need to hold on to these. Right. And again, for anybody that needs it, there you go.
Yeah. So there will be more now. Premier El Forde also said that this is a temporary measure. Remember, they said that I think it was mentioned back in the 30s or 40s that income tax was a temporary measure. Well, I'm just saying. Mr. Premier Ford said that this is a temporary measure because he was never in favor of rolling one of these things out, and he put all the stress on the federal government because he said the feds had said they were going to do something, and then they said they weren't going to do something with regard to a vaccination passport. So, well, we have to do something. And not to put too fine a point on it, we are in the middle of a federal election. And you wonder where the Conservative Premier of Ontario has been for the last 5 weeks? He has been out of earshot. I wonder if that's an accident. Just a question. I'm just asking questions here. I'm not, Now, Ontario will also introduce enhanced digital vaccine receipts that features a QR code, which is safe, more secure, and with you wherever you go. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, the school year is going to be, if you shoot down to the next paragraph, the school year begins, it's critical to keep Ontario schools safe and students learning in person. Province will work with trusted public health units to use the existing COVAX-ON system to safely and securely confirm the vaccination status of students. Let me ask you as a parent, I'm not going to just read all this stuff because, I mean, you can kind of read it for yourself. It's just blah-de-dee, blah-de-dee, blah, blah. So, Kevin, you have school-age children. We have talked about this numerous times as we've walked our way through this field of COVID. Next week, school starts.
Yep, Tuesday.
This is Labor Day weekend coming up.
My wife is out back to school shopping as we speak.
Back to school shopping right now. Do you have any idea what this school year is going to look like for you and your family?
No.
Of course not.
I have an idea what it's going to look like on Tuesday, but that might all be upended come Wednesday. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean,
why don't we know?
Well, we have an idea, but I guess I'm saying is that COVID is such a fluid situation that, hey, by November they could all be home again.
Have you been communicated with as a parent of school-age
Yes,
children?
we have.
What kind of communication have you received?
My wife receives it because my kids go to French immersion, so all the communication is in French. I only get the gist of it. My wife can actually understand what they're saying. And all they did was reiterate what the province had already mandated, and that is where and when kids have to wear masks. And that's it.
And that's it?
Yeah, that's all we've heard.
Nothing about testing or vaccinations or
no, nothing.
Whether their teachers are vaccinated or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Don't you think you should know that?
I guess we assume that everybody's adhering to the protocols, whatever those protocols.
But what are the
be.
protocols? We don't.
I don't
have they even said all teachers or staff or whatever at the school boards anywhere in Ontario need to be double vaxxed before you step into a classroom to teach children? Do we know that?
I thought they said that. But
did they?
Again, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
It's hard keeping up with this stuff.
I've been wrong once before.
Yeah, it's hard keeping up with this stuff.
But you've got. I don't have a horse in this race, man. I don't have kids that are going back to school, but I really feel for people that do, because I'd be a little bit concerned right now, because I don't know if the teacher in front of my kids is going to wear a mask. I don't know if the teacher is going to be double vaxxed. I don't know any of that stuff.
I do know that a lot of the grandparents and people in that realm are now going to take more precaution with their children once they go back to school. Maybe we're not hugging the grandkids as much because now they're going to be in an environment with a whole bunch of unvaccinated people. Not talking about the teachers, the kids.
Yeah.
And who knows what they're bringing home. But, to each their own, right?
I guess.
Protect yourself. That's your decision.
I guess. Just to give you an idea about what is coming up on the program today, we do have a couple of folks coming on. At least they're scheduled to do so, and hopefully they'll show up. There's a local author. There are a lot of local authors, as a matter of fact, but this one in particular that we're going to talk about today, his name is Sean R. Bell, and he has self-published the first in a trilogy of fiction novels called The Grandfather Chronicles, and it looked kind of cool to us. That's the book right there, Grandfather Chronicles. The Secret of the Sword. The back cover says, an ancient bloodline, a powerful enemy, a hidden sword with the power to save or destroy the earth, da-da-da-da. So, could be kind of fun. So Sean's going to be joining us, I think Kevin said about, 10 to 1, quarter to 1, 12:45, 12:50.
And there's Sean there doing a book launch in Montreal last weekend.
Yeah, from St. Catharines, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of from St. Catharines and books, just while we're doing this, you may remember, if you are a little bit longer in the tooth, meaning older, like myself, an entertainment person. And I say that just because it wasn't just radio. He was an actor, a director, a writer, a radio host, and a long-time Niagara resident and an entertainer, and a really, really talented fellow by the name of Frank Proctor. There he is. We all came up through the same DNA pool, I guess, in Niagara entertainment. But he also wrote just a little thin missive That's it right there. It's called The Day the Welland Canal Monster Met Santa. I thought that was just so... Kevin brought this in. How long have you had this thing?
My wife has had it in her family, and it just ended up in the collection of books, and then my daughter pulled it out randomly the other week.
The first printing was July 1982. The second printing was September 1982, so it obviously cleared the shelves pretty quickly for 3 months later for it to go into a second printing. It's just so neat. Here's how it starts. Chapter 1. It's Christmas Eve, and I know someone, or should I say something, who's going to be every bit as excited as you are tonight. You see, this year will be the very first time that Santa Claus will be bringing him a present. How all this came about is quite a story. That's
Now,
how it starts.
Read the back there, Lee, because it's pretty interesting as to the origin of the book itself, because people might remember Frank reading this story on the radio.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the back of the book. That's Frank's picture when he was a young lad at the bottom, and he says, "Dear reader, on the pages of this little book, you will find a story about a mythical monster and his little friend, a clam. It is a fantasy out of the imaginative and creative mind of one of my favorite people. Only Frank Proctor, whose main occupation is entertaining children of all ages with his morning program on CKTB, could have possibly dreamed of a friendship between a sea monster and a clam. But that's Frank, a man who hesitates to even swat a mosquito because he believes there is room on this earth for all God's creatures, big and small. I know you will enjoy reading this modern-day fairy tale, for they are few and far between. Bob Reinhardt, Vice President and GM, CKTB CJQR FM Limited. And that, of course, is St. Catharines, just down the street here. So that's kind of...
Let me grab it. I'll flip through the pages, and
Yeah.
people might remember some of that.
Yeah, that's kind of... Look at that. So neat. So, I know Frank is still around somewhere. Was it not, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank was married to the actress that played in that Canadian sitcom Trouble with Tracy?
Really?
I think so.
Oh, that's a history lesson there for me.
I think so. Years ago. Yeah, so there's just some illustrations.
I mean, there they are at the lock 3, right?
Yeah. Isn't that neat? Talk about Niagara history. There's a huge piece of Niagara literature history, and I'll call it literature. Why not? That's not that big a stretch. There's Frank back in his salad days. So hi, Frank. Hopefully somebody will cue you into this show, and you'll see this tribute. You did a lot for broadcasting and broadcasters and entertainers in the Niagara region when you were doing your thing. So kudos to you. And thanks for bringing that in. Thanks to your wife for digging that up for us, Kevin.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and I read it to my daughter there about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Although she's pretty good at reading, but as you know,
Yeah.
I had a good time. I had a good time reading it to her.
That's great. One of the stories that we have been touching on, you have bees at your place, right? These yellow jacket things?
Oh gosh, we were out camping at Windmill Point last weekend, like Friday through Monday. Bees everywhere. It's the season.
Yeah.
And they're all over St. Paul Street.
They are everywhere. So at some point in time, by the way, if something happens that we have sort of an attack here in the open air window of Fiddler's Poorhouse on St. Paul Street here in St. Catharines, we'll just get up and close the garage door.
Whatever happened to those murder hornets? Remember, it was COVID, and then all of a sudden the murder hornets are coming. Oh, God.
I think the murder hornet police caught them and they're in jail.
Hi, Julia.
Hello. Okay.
That's Julia. No, Julia.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good.
The way she ignored me, though, would make you think otherwise.
You have that effect on women,
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Now, in all seriousness, there has been quite a development in the case of the two young women that were killed a couple of days after New Year's. Thanks, Kev. A couple of days after New Year's this past January. And I had originally planned on talking about the fact that there had been a second arrest made, and then this popped up just this morning. A third arrest has been made in the Fort Erie double homicide. Homicide unit detectives continue to investigate the murders of Juliana Panunzio and 18-year-old Christine Crooks. Sorry for the family of Christine Crooks. As a result, yesterday, 20-year-old Trevor Barnett.
That's a 29. I know it's tough to read.
29-year-old, Trevor Barnett of Scarborough was arrested, now facing the following charge, etc., etc. And which led to the arrest of the third person, 25-year-old Tanae Brown of Markham. Both were found to be in possession of a quantity of illegal drugs. As a result, Trevor Barnett and Tanae Brown are facing following separate charge and et cetera, controlled substances and whatnot, and charges related to the killings. The first person that was arrested was the Plague. El Plaga is what they called this dude. So these killings, it seems pretty obvious, had some sort of drug-related focus. What that is, what that will turn out to be, we don't know. But now 3 people have been arrested in conjunction with that murder of Juliana and Christine. Horrible, horrible story. And the people that I feel the most sorry for, yes, Juliana and Christine are not any longer with us, and that's too bad. And people will miss them, and we're sorry for that. But the people that will suffer the most out of this are the families of these 2 young women, because it will not be a pleasant experience for them as this process unfolds and goes through the courts and through the legal system of the province and the country. It's not going to be pleasant in any way, shape, or form, and all kinds of things will be said. We don't know how much of that will be true or false or conjecture or whatever it is, but it's going to be a mess for quite some time. So our condolences to the family. We did a story last week which rested uncomfortably with some people, not many, but a few. You may remember the story that we did last week about the fact that thieves, while breaking into a house here in Niagara, ended up walking away with $300,000 worth of gold and silver bars. Yeah. Gold bars and silver bars, stamped officially by the Canadian Mint, and legitimate gold and silver bars. I don't know how another way to put it. Now, not a lot of people have gold and silver bars in their house, and there was a period in our show where I guess we kind of made light of it. We did not intend to upset anybody associated with that family or sort of aggrandize the theft of $300,000 worth of someone's fortune. But you have to admit that it's not the average citizen that has gold and or silver bars in their house that are worth anything, let alone $300,000. So I think we can be forgiven a little bit for calling this a head scratcher. of a case. We don't want to feel that we're offending anybody, and I know this is a terrible loss for this family. I get that. But you also have to understand, even the people that might have been offended by what we said, and that's okay. I mean, we're not going to say things every week that everybody's going to agree with. That's cool. That's the forum we're in. Agree, disagree, doesn't matter. Click on the link and let's talk about it. That's what we're here to do. But you have to give me this. You have to give me my due in the fact that this is not a normal robbery. This is not a normal theft. And when you've been in we were accused of all sorts of things, being wannabe journalists, broadcasting from some sort of wacky patio in downtown St. Catharines. Trust me, Kevin and I have been doing this for a while, and I'm not saying that we always, or I always, make the right decision, but every now and then things strike me a little sideways, and this story did strike me a little sideways, because it's not usual. It's not normal. A lot of people break into houses, but they steal your silverware and let your dog out. They don't necessarily steal $300,000 worth of gold and silver bars. Excuse me, but you have to understand that as a broadcaster, as an infotainer, we're going to talk about that. Sorry.
No, I hear you, Lee. Took some some heat over that one, and you know what? It's terrible because whenever there is anything, whether it's a TV movie, whether it's a big movie, a short, a documentary, and there is a victim involved, that family is not going to be very happy about its release.
Mm-mm.
And so,
no.
I understand that
I mean,
side of it.
Of course. Our thoughts. I mean, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Of course, it's a tragic thing to happen to any family. So that's we didn't really want to make fun of anybody in particular, but you really have to admit it's off the charts different. So are we going to talk about it? Uh-huh. All right. So had to get that out there.
All right, Lee. I'm just going to break in here. So we have a couple of people that have joined the program.
Oh, do we?
We had a guy just pop in right now who's going by Cole.
Okay.
Cole, if you can hear us now, I'll just let you know that you're next in line. But we do have a guest to get to ahead of time, so we'll just kind of take them one at a time. Hang out in the waiting room, and we'll get you on. But I had a funny feeling this might happen, and this has to do with a story that Nick posted on Niagara 411 this morning. That actually happened overnight last night.
Yeah. So who have we got joining us?
Anita, I believe.
Anita, hi, how are you?
Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, just try to unmute yourself there.
Hello, there we go.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
I'm well. So you're in Port Colborne?
Yes.
Okay. Are you? It's a lovely setting. Are you at home?
Yes, I am. I'm actually a dog groomer. You've had me on your show before. I'm Wyatt, a.k.a.
Yeah, Wyatt. Yeah. I remember that.
So I'm also a female illusionist, or a drag queen, if you will. So
Right.
We have some awesome things to celebrate today. We are in my grooming salon / solarium. We have plants everywhere. All in front of me, there's plants. Got some good stuff going on.
Looks like a beautiful setting.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Welcome back to the program. Tell us about what happened overnight in Port Colborne.
So, about 10 p.m. last night, we had one of our famous rainbow crosswalks that they have been installing all over the region.
Right.
We are number 3, which is amazing. We had that installed, so I have some amazing videos and photos, and just to witness that being installed was a very historical event, if you will. So I just wanted to come on in regalia, if you will, and I just actually left the event. We ceremony this morning at 9 a.m. We had the mayor of Port Colborne, we had the Meridian Center, we had the Port Colborne BIA, we had a lot of friendly faces, Niagara men's group. We had so many people that were just in great supports and great spirits for this amazing event. And that's why I wanted to come on here and kind of spread the love and spread the experience. I'm just very proud that a small city like ourselves has something like this going on.
Well, I'm glad you reached out to us. That's great. Now, these crosswalks. I think the first one was in Niagara Falls, and then there was one here in St. Catharines, just down the street, and now this in Port Colborne. And the exact location is what? Clarence and what?
Clarence and West Street. So
and
it's actually
Clarence
at this.
Right by the bridge.
Right at Port. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. For those of us not in your community, it doesn't perhaps hold as big a significance as it would for you and others. What does this, when things like this happen, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to your community?
Well, I personally don't like to speak for others, but as an individual, this means to me just diversity, open-mindedness, if you will, just the ability for change to kind of be in progression. I don't want to quote dates of when things actually originated and this and that, but just to be able to achieve something like this in the Niagara region, and for us to kind of be able to share it with our future generations and our peers and family members. And it is what the crosswalk means. It's just diversity. It's each color has its own representation. It's kind of like the pride flags and like the new flag we're representing. It's just it's a representation of change, diversity, and for myself at least I can say, and just new beginnings. It's if people come together, it's very cool.
That's great. Good on the city of Port Colborne. Good on you and the groups that keep pushing things like this forward. And thank you for reaching out to us to come onto the program today, Wyatt Richardson / Anita. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Congratulations on this landmark event. That's so cool. Way to go.
Thank you so much. And just before I go, I would love to highlight that we have been doing some amazing shows hosted by Heart Entertainment, which you can find on Facebook. We do a lot of live drag shows downtown Niagara Falls, hosted by the BIA. It's amazing just opportunity to be outside with our community, just performing again. So we have another show on the 25th of September that you can buy tickets for. So yeah, again, thank you again for the opportunity, and thank you.
My pleasure. How do we keep track of you? There must be a website or a Facebook page or something?
I myself am Anita Kira, so INITA KIRA on Instagram, Facebook, and also, like I said, follow Heart Entertainment. Heart? And that's a page you can follow, and that has all of our events and postings and a lot of fun.
As in HERT? Like
HEART, I believe, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Heart Entertainment. Okay, cool. Thanks for being here. This is great. It's a super day, another landmark day for Niagara in one of our southernmost cities. So thank you enjoy your day.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Stay safe, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, you too. Our pleasure. Bye. All right, so there you go. Port Colborne added to the list of inclusive cities here in Niagara. That's neat. All right. Kevin, do we still have a guest waiting in the room?
Yeah, we do. So we'll try and throw Cole in here. And again, as you see, we're open to whomever, whenever. So it's so great for Anita or Wyatt to come on. And I love how they identify as both. You know, listen, I'm Wyatt and I'm also Anita.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm a guy, but I'm also a drag queen. And hi, here I am. That's amazing.
No, I think that's awesome. And kudos to the city of Port Colborne.
Can you imagine doing this on a TV show like 30 years ago?
TV show now.
Oh, yeah. Stupid bees. Well, they're not stupid. I'm sorry. Bees are not stupid. They're just bees.
So, Lee, I think we can move on. I mean, Cole has clicked here. Sometimes people click the Zoom link thinking that that's how you watch the show. That's how you come on the show. Just like Wyatt Anita, just like they did.
Is that
right
what
there.
happened to Cole?
Yeah, so it could be. So we'll give him a couple seconds here, see if he's going to turn his camera on and what have you.
All right.
But it looks like he's just got to come on in an attempt to watch the program, which of course
All right, well, that's
is
fine.
done better on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you happen
That's
to be
fine.
watching.
Yeah, you don't have to actually click on the link to watch the show. It's posted on Niagara 411 Live. It's on WeeStream. It's on Gales Gas Bars. And while I'm saying this, I have been remiss in giving enough credit today on the show because we've been talking about other stuff. Gales Gas Bars fueling this program, and there goes a nice little breeze blowing my notes away. Gales, and yeah, that's right. I'm old school. I still do have paper notes that I use. I'm sorry. It's just I am not a paperless society. Gales Gas Bars fueling this program like they've been fueling Niagara for over 50 years. Always thankful that they stuck with us. I was looking for the right word, but sometimes the words escape you, even though you talk for a living. Also, Performance Heating and Air, Carlo and the gang there, and their mission, by the way, at Performance Heating and Air is always to try to save your family money in that genre in which they do their business, because they have families here in Niagara too, and they have to pay for their utilities and all the things that support them. So they're trying to save your family money like they're trying to save their own family money, and that's why local businesses are important to support. So thank you, Performance Heating and Air. High-speed internet of Niagara, no better place for that than Enwick. And we chatted with the Enwick folks, Scott and the gang, not too many weeks ago. And Kevin, you're someone that lives in sort of a semi-rural kind of area, and for anybody that lives in that sort of geography within Niagara realizes that sometimes getting reliable and consistently reliable internet service is often a challenge.
Yeah, they're the best. I mean, it's a Niagara-based company solving problems for Niagarans. There are national players in this space, but they don't know what your geography is dealing with.
Exactly.
Enwick does. And no contracts. Lee, when they were on the show, said, no contracts, you can come try us out for a month, don't like it, see you later, no worries. And
absolutely.
Why wouldn't you? Right?
So
why wouldn't you?
If you happen to feel that you might have a need for that kind of service, them are the folks to call. Verge Insurance Group for any and all of your insurance needs, and they have been posting a number of videos over the last little while on Facebook that have popped up. So they're really doing a great job for any and all of your insurance needs here in Niagara. Once again, a locally formed and run and managed and staffed Niagara company. So thank you for your support. Kevin, we chatted with a young mother who has had quite an incredible life. We chatted with her last week. Was it last week we talked to Lyrics?
Yeah, that was last week.
Lady Lyrics?
Lady Lyrics.
Yeah. And she was telling us about the competition that she's in. She is basically a rapper / pop entertainer. And she's participating in this playdown, I guess, of entertainers in her field. And they submitted their videos, and then people voted as to whether to move them on to the next level or not. And she had made the top 15, if I remember correctly. And when we did this show last Thursday, she was entreating us to vote for her, get us another B, vote for her by 8 p.m. a week ago today to see if she could move on to the next level. Well, she did. The top 10 cut was last Thursday. You see there, top 10 cut is tonight. Well, that was a post from last week. And she made the cut. So that's so cool. Her driver's license name is Kim Ferguson. She is a St. Catharines resident, and she moves on. So that is absolutely awesome. Her stage name, her stage persona, is Lady, Laydee, Lyrics, Lyrix. But if you just want to refer to her by name and follow her in this competition, you can just call her Lyrics. All right. So that's like Madonna. That's sort of a one-word thing. Lyrics is it. So congratulations. We are just so pleased that she joined us last week. She has a young daughter at home, single mom, and just doing great things in her world, which is cool. And this is a program, by the way, that wants to highlight people like Kim Ferguson / Lady Lyrics. So if you're the next best story out there, or if you're the story that you think we should know about, that's why we're here too. So you can click on the link and you can come in and tell us about yourself. You can promote your business. You can tell us what you're doing with your life. And that's what this is all about. Kevin, one of the other things, by the way, I want to acknowledge Nick from Niagara 411, with whom we, of course, have a content sharing agreement, which is why we call this Niagara 411 Live. We're not just ripping Nick off for his name or his content. We work together. It's a symbiotic relationship, which is just absolutely super. And you'll notice from time to time there are things on his site that are advertising in nature. And in case you're wondering why that happens, it's because these things don't happen without time and expense. And Nick's pretty much a 24/7 one man band. So I don't know when he sleeps. I'm really not sure. But it can't be often, and it can't be for too long at a time. No. So that's why there will be things pinned occasionally on Niagara 411, because you gotta feed your family and you gotta pay your bills. So nobody can afford to work for nothing. And this was Nick's baby, his brainchild, his thing that he put together, and he does a fabulous job at it. The reach is amazing around Niagara, and we enjoy like crazy working for him, mainly because of Nick's mom. I mean, you got to say hi to Nick's mom. Right?
I mean, everybody knows the power of Niagara 411, because if anything is happening in Niagara, that's the first place you go, and you hear people saying that, going, what do you think's going on there?
Yeah.
I don't know, check 411.
Yeah, so don't get upset if you see something. Why is this advertising? Well, yeah, welcome to the real world of commerce.
And we're kind of taking that platform and putting it in front of you in the format that you see. And Lee, you mentioned talking to local people.
Yeah.
And we do have the local author, Sean Bell from St. Catharines, coming up in a couple of minutes.
Awesome.
Also, weeks ago, Sully took advantage of the open format here of the program.
Yeah.
And there was an update on Niagara 411, and thought maybe we could just touch on that.
Let's do that. William O'Sullivan Sully. This was a gentleman that just clicked onto the show. We didn't seek him out. He sought us out, and I'm so glad that he did, because we would not have known his story. He is on his walking trek from Welland to Ottawa. And he's been at it how many days now?
Oh gosh, he's been protesting outside of St. Kevin's in Welland for 2 years, I want to say.
Yeah. He was, in his words, abused by the clergy in his young days, and makes no bones about it. He uses actually the word raped in his conversations. And it is his goal in this walk to again raise awareness about this issue. And he names names. He makes no bones about the fact of who abused him and where this happened when he was a young man. And he is doing this during this federal election. Now, he is not going to get to Ottawa before the election takes place. But I'm sure at some point in time, somebody is going to pay attention that's involved in the election and perhaps, at least I hope, talks to this man. So, Sully, Godspeed. I hope your walk goes well. He's had some hot weather to walk in. Holy cow. I walk my dog for 20 minutes in the morning, and I feel like I've got Niagara Falls coming down my forehead. I mean, holy cow, hot days. All right. So, way to go, Sully. Good luck with the walk. All right, I showed you this book a little bit earlier, right off the top of the show. This is the Grandfather Chronicles. First book of what is intended to be a trilogy, self-published by author Sean Bell, or as it says here, Sean R. Bell, and he joins us now on the program. Sean, how are you?
Doing very well, Lee. How are you today?
I am super. You have a lot of stuff around you, a lot of memorabilia in wherever it is you're calling us from. Man cave, by the looks of it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in my office, and
Okay.
I'm a collector, Lee. I'm a guy who likes a lot of different things, whether it's movie memorabilia, comic book memorabilia. I'm just a guy that likes to collect stuff. I'm a guy that's big on memories and moments, and I enjoy showcasing those moments around me. A lot of
Well,
different interests.
you're also obviously a pretty good marketer because you got a golf shirt on that says the Grandfather Chronicles. Your hat says the Grandfather Chronicles. So you're a pretty good self-marketer as well. Where did this whole author writing thing come from?
You know, Lee, I've always been interested in storytelling. I've loved telling stories. I love the idea of fiction. I love the idea of being able to come up with ideas in your head, ideas that may not exist, but you can make them exist with the power of writing, the power of being able to create something from your imagination. I've always loved that idea. And the idea to go and take this book to as well, it actually started as a manuscript for a potential movie or a series. But as we all know, a lot of the series and movies out there were books first. Books tend to last longer. A lot of content tends to come from books first. So I decided to take on the challenge of taking my manuscript and turning it into a manuscript for a novel, for a book. So the idea was to always do a trilogy, but start with the first book and see what kind of response I get.
Interesting. So how long did it take you to produce this?
So that first book there, Lee, The Secret of the Sword, about from beginning to end, from the rough draft to the final print-ready files, with Friesen Press. I self-published with them. They're a publishing company in Canada.
Okay.
About 2 years. 2 years. So right through the pandemic, 2 years of me working during the day and doing editing or whatever step I was in the publishing process at night. So about 2 years.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're working with, was it Friesen Press, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of the things that has really changed in the world of literature is the publishing platforms. It used to be that people like yourself would labor for hours and hours and hours and hours and then send a manila envelope out with their manuscript to whatever advertising or publishing firm they could find, hoping that somebody would bite and say, "Hey, we're going to produce this." Well, that world is pretty much done now. So, how does someone like you feel confident that you're reaching the right people or the right number of people when you do kind of because this is a professional thing. I mean, this isn't something you just, threw together on your HP printer in the dark in the back in the corner of your bedroom. This is a pretty pro thing. How do you feel comfortable though, or confident that you're going to reach the people you need to reach?
A great question, Lee, and thank you very much for the compliment with respect to the book. One of my all-time goals with whatever I work on is to make sure the ultimate product in the end is professional. Having some experience in the media industry, I know how valuable and how competitive it is.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to really make sure that my projects stand out. They're something that looks good, looks professional, and can compete with the number of professional products out there. You're absolutely right. The world is changing with respect to publishing. The art of going the traditional route, where you, as you mentioned, you send your manuscript out to potential agents to shop to publishing companies, is changing. The self-publishing route is something that was very attractive for me, Lee, because I control all the content. Everything that goes into the self-publishing route is what comes out. They'll give you advice. They'll match you up with professional editors. They'll match you up with marketers, people who will educate you into how to make a success, but they won't do it for you. You have to spend the time doing the editing. As you mentioned earlier on in the interview, you have to spend the time doing the marketing.
That's what I was wondering, because any successful author or anybody that reads a book at all will know, especially if it's fiction, will know that at the end there's always acknowledgments and thank yous, etc., from the author to their support team, and often that support team is quite significant. You've got proofreaders and editors and advisors, etc. So often the final product bears not necessarily a close resemblance of the original manuscript. So I was going to ask you, how does a self-publishing author vet that kind of support?
So self-publishing, Lee, I can pretty much tell you all the content that I want in that book from a personal perspective is there.
Right.
Friesen gives you advice. They will take your content and take it from a homeschool written story into a professional product. So when you read that book now, professional editors have gone through my content and made it look good, made it professional,
and you have to pay for that?
Yes, you do. So self-publishing, you are paying for the service of self-publishing, and there are various packages. I went with the extreme package because I was, as we mentioned, I was new to this as an author. I was very new. I very much was dependent upon their professionals to help me take my craft and really kind of massage it into what I wanted. Okay. But the big difference, Lee, between the traditional and self-publishing is traditional publishers really control the content of your book. They can say, Sean, I don't like this chapter, and if you don't want to take it out, it doesn't move forward. With the Friesen Press self-publishing, they'll take all your content and make it real and make it professional. And that, to me, is a big selling point.
You know what? I am so glad that you came on the program today, because that's the one question I've been wanting to ask in the world of publishing for a long time now. And you've answered something. Finally, I can go like, okay, I get it now. I understand, because any of us could sit down and jot down a story and throw it out there and say, oh, I wrote a book. But there's obviously more to it than that. It's just a different business model than it used to be.
Absolutely, Lee. It's a very different business model. I can't speak for what it takes to be taken on by a traditional publisher, Lee, because I haven't done that. I can only go on what people have told me. I've met tremendous people through social media, tremendous people through online forums who have gone that route, and I'm lucky enough that they share those experiences with me. So I can't say to you, Lee, I've gone through the traditional publishing route. I can compare that to the self-publishing route. I can only go by, I've gone from the beginning to the end with Friesen Press, who is a self-publishing company. Yeah. And I can relate to you that what I'm being told right now is that traditional publishers right now, it is very difficult, and you will battle with them if you are one of those people who wants your content exactly how you want it to show up in the book.
Okay, let me talk to you just quickly about this first book. It is intended as a trilogy, as I understand.
Absolutely.
And this one, it's a little bit like like any series, be it Hunger Games or Harry Potter or any of those things. I'm assuming that the characters, or a character or whatever, because I have to admit I have not read the book yet. I've just had to flip through it.
Sure.
I'm assuming that a character or characters are continuous through the series. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
All right.
Absolutely
So this
correct.
one's
Yeah.
called The Secret of the Sword. It strikes me as a little bit like King Arthur
Absolutely. Yeah.
type stuff.
is.
Is that the kind of genre we're talking here?
Absolutely. So all three books, the backstory is Arthurian legend. This book deals with a little bit of a different twist on the Arthurian legend tale.
Okay.
The Excalibur Sword in the Stone.
Of the Excalibur? Yeah, right.
Yes, right. So what I did, Lee, is the characters in this book are loosely based upon characters from my family. So I took moments of my childhood,
Okay.
inspirations, impressions made upon me as a child by my mom's side of the family,
Yeah.
and her dad, who's my grandfather, who is the inspiration behind this book. That's why it's called the Grandfather Chronicles.
Nice.
I took those wonderful memories that I had, so real life memories, Lee. I've used those in the book, and that's the backstory of this first book, which seamlessly blends these great memories I had with the fantasy of Arthurian legend, a different take on King Arthur and the Sword in the Stone.
All right. Now, as we were chatting, you didn't see this, but Kevin was posting contact information and links, etc., and things to do with the book and how we could get it. But that notwithstanding, tell us where we find it, and how much we pay for it.
So right now, Lee, it's available worldwide. I always start off by telling people to visit www.thegrandfatherchronicles.com. That's the main website. I'm on there every day updating it. There are links right from there to all the social media platforms. I've kept it all very similar, so it's all the Grandfather Chronicles, but it is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. It's actually available in Forget-Me-Not in St. Catharines, Ontario. So right here in St. Catharines, Forget-Me-Not actually has it in their store, and it will be coming to Indigo chapters in various locations over the next few weeks. So it is starting to come out in physical form. Depending on where you get it, Lee, will depend on the price, but it varies between $20 for the soft cover and about $35 for the hardcover.
All right. Now it looks like, Sean, that it's a pretty easy read. It's not a huge tome. The print is not small. It looks like it's a pretty easy read. It's something that people should be able to pick up and then put down in a couple of days, and they're done, which is great, because I know when it comes to some fiction, well, nonfiction as well, I guess, for that matter, but sometimes books become daunting, because you look at some of these books and they're like this thick, the print is like this big, and you think, I'm never gonna get through this thing. This one looks like, hey, I could sit down and get through this maybe in a day or 2 days or something like that if I have enough time. That's kind of cool.
Yes, and that was a goal of mine, Lee. I'm a big time fantasy reader, whether it's Game of Thrones, whether it's, as you mentioned, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
There's so many great series out there that are thick books. But as a debut author, I wanted to make my first book a book that moves quite quickly and is an easy read, so people can get an idea quite quickly about who I am, how my craft works, and basically that I just want to keep people interested from beginning to end in the book. So that was my goal.
You have a day job, I guess, or is it just collecting memorabilia with all that stuff that you have?
I'm very, very fortunately, I've had a number of different day jobs, but for the last few months, I've been able to take that time and really work on the marketing for this book. It's a daunting task. It's the one thing I will say, because the marketing for myself in this book is whatever I put in is what I'm going to get out. I don't have a company that I rely on. It's all me. And I had said to myself that when the book goes live, I was going to take 6 months to really make a run with it. My days are full because I'm doing various social media events, marketing promotions, meeting with people to discuss in-store promotions, although it's very difficult with COVID. So I am taking the time right now. I'm always collecting memorabilia though, Lee. I'm always online collecting stuff, so I'm always adding to my collection on the side. But right now I'm spending the majority of my time really trying to see if I can really generate an audience for this book.
I was just ready to kick you loose, and then something else popped into my head. That happens when I talk to people. I keep wanting to ask.
Greatly.
I keep wanting to ask questions that I think people want the answer to.
Ask away, Lee. Ask away.
Yeah. So, have you written the other two books yet, or are they just works? At what stages are the other two books? And B, do you have other thoughts in your head about writing other things? The reason I ask that is because I'm reading a book right now. It's just another feel-good fiction thing by Michael Connelly, one of the great fiction writers of all time.
Right.
And he's written something like 50 books, this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how people come up with these plots and ideas and stuff, and I guess at some point in time they're formula writers. They come up with a certain plot and they've got a way that they approach it. How do you do that? How do you think about the next book, or is this it? Can you jump into another genre and write other things? Like, how does your mind work when it comes to being an author?
To answer your first question, Lee, I'm halfway through book 2, so I'm in the process of writing book 2.
Okay, good.
I wrote book 1 and book 2 at the same time, pretty much. I was carrying on with book 2, although I was working with Friesen to publish book 1. I was working on book 2 on the side, so I know exactly where I'm going with the Grandfather.
So it helps you. It helps you with the continuity.
Sure. Absolutely, because otherwise you get lost. You forget about characters. So I'm working with those characters.
It's really like you're writing. It's really like you're writing one book.
Right. Absolutely, Lee.
You're just publishing it in 3 separate pieces.
You hit it right on. That's exactly what I am doing. I know exactly how it starts and where I'm going with it, which is great. It's just a question of now breaking it up into 3. And to come back to your point, instead of releasing one huge, massive, thick book, I'd rather break it up into 3, keep people interested, keep people engaged in the book as they read it.
Well, you'd rather keep them buying different books too.
Absolutely, right? Got to keep them and got to keep them hooked and coming back for more, right?
Yeah, sure.
But you ask a very interesting question, and it's a question that I was contemplating. Actually, I just got back from Montreal, which is where the backstory of the Grandfather Chronicles is from, because my mom's side of the family are from Montreal. And I was thinking over the weekend, I'm a very eclectic guy by nature, whether it's being interested in world history, whether it's interested in fantasy, whether it's interested in politics. Right. So to answer your question, I do have a number of ideas of other genres to jump into. I think what makes this one my starting point is I'm so passionate about it. It's so close to home because it relates to so many great times in my life. I'm able to take that and combine that with this Arthurian legend. I've always been fascinated with Arthurian legend, and I've always had this idea to take a different approach to it. And creating my first book has given me now this confidence to write other genres. And I can tell you there are a number of other ideas just looking around my room, just experiencing all the things I've done. My eclectic nature definitely allows me to jump into a different genre for sure.
Very cool, Sean. I'm gonna finally. I could talk with you all afternoon, but right now
it's been a pleasure, Lee.
I'm gonna kick you loose. But
okay.
But thanks for coming in. The Grandfather Chronicles is and the Secret of the Sword, the first book in the trilogy of that title. Sean R. Bell, illustrated by Natasha. How do you say Natasha's last name? Because she deserves.
She definitely deserves some recognition. Merkshin. She's from Belarus, so it's Merkshin, yeah.
All right. So there's some pretty cool illustrations in the book as well. And I always found that kind of neat because you had a chance to perhaps crawl through the psyche of the author a little bit as to what they were thinking when they're writing about some of these characters. And the illustrations, I mean, it's not a picture book by any stretch of the imagination, but some of the illustrations are pretty neat. Sean, thank you for joining us. Niagara proud as usual, and keep us posted on how things are going.
Lee, wonderful. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's been great, and I could chat with you all afternoon as well. It really has been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Well, keep writing. Have fun.
I will, definitely. Will do.
All right, bye. Kevin, I find these people fascinating, and I'm sorry if that maybe ran on a little long to those people that are saying, okay, look, time's wasting. But I find these people so fascinating because being in the media industry for as long as I was, I did my fair bit of writing as well. I'm not a published author. I didn't write a book or whatever, but I wrote every day, as you did. when you were when you were in the broadcast media, you wrote your perspective on stories. You wrote your lineup for how it was going to happen. I mean, entertainment doesn't just happen by getting out of bed in the morning and jumping on behind a microphone. It takes work, it takes preparation, it takes passion, it takes understanding, and it takes some form of intelligence to put a thought together in sentences. And I always find people like this so fascinating.
I got a lot of respect. It's really cool what the world allows you to do, to collaborate with an illustrator in Belarus, to self-publish. Anybody that's a success in the written word has been rejected so many times.
Yeah.
And there are so many people who probably would have been huge successes, but they got rejected. And I love the fact that it says, you know what,
Right.
This is what I want to write, this is my vision, and I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what Sean did, and nobody can take it away from him. I think it's so cool. It's very admirable.
But you know, it is admirable. It really is. But you know what happens now is all of the financial burden is on him. He's the one that paid for the publishing. He ended up paying for the printing and the packaging and the whole thing. And it used to be when an author was courted by or accepted by a publisher, the publisher would even give the author a front end stipend. Like they give him a front end bonus for the book, and it hasn't even sold a copy. Like there are some authors out there that would get 40, 50, 60,000, maybe more if you're popular, before the book even goes to print. Not now. I mean, Sean's everything is his nut. Everything he has to pay for.
No, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Lee, getting back to the world of Niagara 411,
Okay.
Nick just posted an update from the NRP, and there have been some arrests made in another homicide right here in St. Catharines. And
All
this
right.
is one that, to be honest, I wasn't too familiar with, but maybe you are.
8:30 p.m. April the 12th, quite a number of months ago, officers responded to the parking lot of Oak Ridge Public School in the city of St. Catharines for reports of a male laying on the ground. When police arrived, they located 32-year-old Yan Jing with gunshot wounds. I'm not familiar with this, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, neither was I yet. I mean, Oakwood Public School, that's pretty dramatic to
Yeah.
find.
He was transported to hospital where he died. Subsequent investigation by the detectives discovered that Jing was the target of an alleged robbery that occurred during a currency exchange. Okay.
The gold bars again.
Could be something similar to that. In these incidents, the victims arranged with the suspects to exchange Canadian currency for Chinese currency at what they believed would be a cheaper rate than offered by. Oh, okay. I see. It's like an FX deal. Okay, foreign exchange. When the victims arrive at the meeting location, they're robbed of the money that they brought to exchange. Why would someone ever meet somebody privately in a parking lot of anything? I mean, gee whiz.
Now, Lee, do you mind me interjecting for a second?
Of course not, Kevin.
What were you going to do if you did?
Why would I? No, you'd do it anyway.
Back in the day when we were working down the road at the talk radio station, I collaborated with Bob Gale, who was, and Bob and I don't really know each other, but it just so happened that he was the representative on the police board.
Right.
And I saw something out of Florida, and I championed it here, and I have to say that myself and Mr. Gale were responsible.
I remember that.
With creating a Kijiji safe site, and it's at the NRP detachment in Welland.
Yeah.
And that was an idea out of Florida that's saying, hey, you don't need to go meet somebody in a dark parking lot at a public school at night. You can come meet at a well-lit, video-monitored parking lot of a police station.
And the most famous incident that brought this to the foreground was that poor man in Hamilton.
Yes.
That was killed by two guys that came to buy his pickup truck.
Timothy Bosch?
Yeah, and I
apologies, I should have his
I know,
name.
I didn't even want to try the name because I apologize to the family. I didn't, but I mean, that's a horrible story. Like, here's a guy, he's trying to sell his truck. A couple of guys show up. They go for a ride with him because he doesn't want them to, like, steal the truck. And they kill him and take the truck anyway. I mean, but these are the kinds of things that led to, and kudos to you for that, Kevin, because I know that you were championing that because we were both at the radio station at the same time. And this was something that this really kind of got under your skin.
I just thought it was a good solution to a problem that communities have.
Yeah.
And I mean, this right here is testament to that.
Yeah. So what's the update here? You said there was an update.
They've made an arrest.
On Friday, August 27th, scroll up there for me, if you would.
Sorry, well, here you go. Thursday, August 19th would be the first arrest. You see right at the top there?
Yeah.
So
A Chinese national from Richmond Hill charged with accessory after the fact of murder, breach of probation contrary. So he's obviously been incarcerated before. On the 27th of August, 22-year-old Fiona Wang, a Chinese national, also from Richmond Hill, charged with similar things.
Well, she got first degree.
Yeah.
So it seems the first guy was arrested was accessory after the fact, but then these were the people here that
planned it.
That planned it would be the Fiona Wang, and then Thursday, September 2nd. So just yesterday they made, I guess, the third and what I would guess final arrest, a 20-year-old.
Yeah. And the video bail court appearance was today at the courthouse here in the city of St. Catharines. Wow. Well, that's good. It's nice to see some things come full circle and get some closure on some of these stories, because that's always a thing that drives me a little bit nuts, Kevin, is the news cycles change and then stories fall off the radar screen and you don't hear any more about it. One of the things that falls into that category is the opioid crisis. We've had COVID and other things push the fentanyl and opioid crisis and overdose death thing off the front pages and off the lead lines of TV and radio stations, etc., and even social media for the last year and a half or 2 years or so. But people are still dying because of opioid overdoses. It hasn't gone away. I remember we were talking about it just about every single day, about how important it was to have an initiative underway that policed and controlled how these opioid addictions were treated, how the overdoses were addressed, how they were prescribed. And it often starts with people that had prescription medicines in their possession, and they become addicted, and then it just morphs into something, snowballs into a problem. And that's the reason I wanted to bring this up, because Nick also jumped on board here, because there have been numerous stories this week about people that continue to die because of the opioid crisis, and we're not talking about it as much as we were. And as soon as something gets pushed off the news cycle, it becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger problem, because now the people that are selling these things, the people that are pushing it, the people that are addicted to it, sort of soar under the radar. And they shouldn't be under the radar. It continues to be a massive, massive problem. So if you or someone you know or someone you're close to needs help with an opiate addiction and you're not quite sure where to go, you can get help right here in Niagara. Segway Clinic is the leading network of community-based addiction treatment centers throughout the Niagara region and Hamilton area, specializing in opioid use, disorder, and recovery-oriented care. They have been providing rapid access to addiction treatment for opioids since 2003. There is another part of this story, Kevin, that I wanted to mention, and you can walk into any drugstore, pharmacy, and you can get for free a naloxone kit. Now, what this is, naloxone is the drug, the the chemical that will reverse your reaction to an opioid overdose. It's not going to solve it forever, but it will. If somebody is in distress in the moment, treatment with this drug, with this remedy, will help and probably save their lives until they can get to a hospital. So keep this in mind. If there is, and it's free to anybody. You don't even have to have someone in your family or someone in your circle of friends that has this problem. You can have one of these things in your house. You can have one in your car. It doesn't matter. They are free. You will get a short instruction as to how to use these things. And I can't stress enough, because I've talked to too many people that have lost loved ones to this horrible scourge that is out there. And these naloxone kits are available. They are free. They are accessible. Talk to your pharmacist about it. Even if you never use the darn thing, it's like having an EpiPen for people that are allergic to, bee stings, for example. It's the same kind of deal. All right? Kevin, I know I go on about this stuff, and I'm pretty passionate about it, because there've been way too many people lost, way too many lives lost.
No, I think you're bang on with your little assessment of what happens when things fall off the front page.
Yeah, just because you're not on the front page news cycle doesn't mean it's still not going on.
It's really sad. I mean, somebody brought up to me the other day, what's going on with the residential schools?
Oh well,
it seems we've moved on.
Yeah, we've moved on.
You know, like really, what's happened? Have there been more?
Oh, we called an
bodies,
election. That's what happened. We called an election. That's what happened with it.
It almost seems that way.
And I shouldn't. I should be the last person to be. What's the word? I'm cynical, I guess, about the media, because I spent my whole life in it. But I'm close enough to it. But for example, Kevin, the two senators that caused me the most grief when they were being charged with, misappropriation of their duties or whatever it is, Mike Duffy and Pamela Wallin. Two long-term broadcasters, long-time news people that spent their entire careers holding politicians' feet to the fire. They spent their whole careers reporting on crooked politicians.
And then the moment they get a turn to line up at the
and
trough,
they got a taste. They got a taste of the forbidden fruit. And boy, did they jump in. It's ridiculous. I'm embarrassed by it. I'm done now.
Yep. Nope, fair enough.
I'm done now.
Lee, something we've been following on the program are the ongoing protests every Thursday outside the courthouse with Dusters for Deidre. Yeah. And some people may want to know, what can I do to help? There's a petition online, and I just want to bring that to the program and let people know that if you're from afar, not quite sure, horn honking's not enough, there is now a petition online where you can show your support and see if we can get stiffer penalties.
I'm going to probably get sued now,
Pamela Wallin.
Do you think I'll get sued?
By Pamela and Duffy?
Mikey, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I somehow doubt it. Lee, coming up on the program, for music, we are going to play, and I stumbled across this because I'm friends with a couple of the guys in My Son the Hurricane. Local brass, funk, hip-hop band. They meld a number of different genres together. And they appeared in something that's done locally. I never heard of it. Air Streaming with Betty Lou.
Okay.
And Betty Lou during the pandemic, and it's not Betty Lou Suter. I don't know Betty Lou from anyone. Hi. How are you?
Hey. How are you? Good. Nice glasses. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Cool. A lot of people do that and stop and wonder what's going on. Well, we're doing a live show, and of course it's always recorded, so she can go back later today and say
see herself and say,
go see yourself there on Niagara 411. Of course,
I need new glasses.
You're welcome. I like those glasses.
I do too. I said I like the glasses.
Well, then why does she need new ones?
I said she would say that, not me.
So you can also come down. I mean, we're open here at Fiddler's noon every day. The special this week is chicken flatbread. a chicken pesto flatbread.
We've got you talking specials now?
Oh, yeah.
You're shilling for Fiddler's flatbread?
Absolutely, yeah. Why wouldn't I? It's going to be delicious. Remember that one we had a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
They had the brisket.
I guess I know what I'm having at about 1:45 today.
That's what I'm having too. I'm absolutely going for the special. Sounds delicious.
Okay.
So My Son the Hurricane appeared on this thing called Airstreaming with Betty Lou. It appears to be like a converted Airstream where she shot solo acts, but My Son the Hurricane wouldn't fit in an Airstream. So I guess they went outside of that. But anyway, it's like a
Do
recorded...
most people know what an Airstream is?
It's a trailer. I think
It's a
so.
big
An
trailer.
RV. Yeah,
it was a
but-
classic silver aluminum style trailer
the,
from like
Silver
the
Bullet.
70s.
The Silver Bullet, affectionately known as.
Yeah.
And they're still around today as an RV company. They're making quite modern, but they still stick with that silver aluminum siding.
So they should. That's their landmark.
It's iconic, absolutely. And anyway, so it's a kind of a recorded live performance by My Son the Hurricane, and that's coming up. But I'll also play the little intro.
Is that what's that's what's coming up?
Yeah, that's what's coming up. And you know
All
what?
right.
Why don't we just kind of get to it now, right? I mean,
Why don't
without
we?
further ado, unless you got anything else, Lee, today?
I don't. I really appreciate Wyatt Richardson / Anita coming on to talk about the Pride Crosswalk in Port Colborne. I think that was fabulous. That this is openly talked about and paraded throughout our region. It's terrific. Sean Bell, fascinating St. Catharines resident, Niagara person who has now released the first of his 3 books in the Grandfather Chronicles trilogy. And Kevin, I guess I just want to thank again our sponsors, Gales Gas Bars, for always standing by us as our title sponsor, Performance Heating and Air, and Enwick High-Speed Internet in Niagara, also Verge Insurance, and all the great people here at Fiddler's Poorhouse for letting us sort of take over their place every Thursday from noon to 1:30 here in the window on St. Paul Street. And to Kevin, of course, with WeeStream for doing such a fabulous job of producing this thing. It looks smooth and seamless and easy when you're watching it, and that's what makes it difficult. And the WeeStream guys do a great job of
So I
it.
have to say that we make the very complex look very simple.
And that's the way it is. My name is Lee Sterry. It's been a pleasure to be with you again. Thursdays come around so fast, and it's always super to be here. So, My Son the Hurricane coming up to play us off the stage. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, what's left of it, and a terrific weekend. And I guess we'll see you on September the 9th for episode 36. Cheers.
More bricks than a factory built in the late 50s. And if you lick these chips, welcome to another episode of
Airstreaming with
Betty Lou.
on this episode,
My Son the Hurricane! The sun passed faster every year. Those sunglasses can't hide me from the clear fact that I've been at this from a long damn time.